So, in the last episode of Isla Napali, finally the go-kart track really shaped up really well, I guess, in the end. And we managed to squeeze in a few bits and pieces that haven't been seen on a go-kart track in Planet Coaster so far, as some security lights and stuff like that. But yes, just a little bit around the go-kart track has been installed, and now it's time for the next episode of Isla Napali. Enjoy! Alright, here we go, everybody, and yeah, as already teased in last week's episode and also as asked in the comments, this is an episode which is a little bit split. So the first part of the episode, about 8-ish minutes, is all about fixing the missing TMT stuff, and here's where confusion is starting. One thing I have gotten from you guys as information is that there is a certain limit to blueprints regarding how many TMT items or different TMT items you can have in it. So I've heard it's limited to 64 items, if I'm not completely wrong. And the problem about this is that I'm not sure if this is 64 of the same piece, or is it just 64 different one? 64, right? Of the same one, of the different. I don't know. I don't know. It's confusing. I haven't seen that, honestly. I don't know where that information is from, to be honest. But it seems that there is some truth about that, because I just read a few people mentioning this. And then again, it's not really sure if this is the same with the park limit itself, because if so, this park won't be shareable, which somehow can't really be true, because I could share it easily with Aston when he was building in the park. I could also really easily share it with Sylph, and I'm pretty sure that the game already had quite a few of these things, and I remember Sylph mentioning that he needed to download quite a few, but it did work out in the end. So yeah, it's a little bit confusing, and I really hope that there is no limit to it, because if so, we definitely have an issue here, because I mean, for me, building in this park, it doesn't really change too much, because it's my park. I can still record videos and build in it, and it's totally fine. But I can essentially not share it on the workshop later on, which would be kind of dumb. You know, I don't really care about blueprints at this point in time, because I feel like my builds are usually not really blueprintable at all. So there is nothing that really changes. It doesn't really matter if it's now too many pieces on TMT level, on too many pieces in general. It doesn't really matter that much. Anyhow, so that about the park in general. I feel like just, you know, filling these gaps you guys already know, and, you know, just doing it all over again doesn't really require me to talk too much about it. You can pretty much see that I fix a few bits and pieces here and there. It also feels like with pathing the park to Sylph and Aston, forth and back, I might have just skipped a little bit of progress within this restaurant area here in general. So there wasn't just missing some TMT pieces, there were also missing some pieces inside the building, and not only around the cashier area, but also around the backstage area. So I was essentially just trying to fix that again, and you know, as I said last time, I didn't really want to make it one by one, so I just tried to improve that, make it somewhat realistic looking. And yeah, if you may wonder why I put down all the TMT items and just move them across the entire map, you know, in contrast to, or other than just taking them from the menu, you can't really tell this from the time-lapse, but trust me, the menu in-game, especially for the TMT items, takes freaking ages. So always opening the menu again to search for your item is barely even possible. So what I tend to do in general, I mean, it's a workflow I got to use in the game in general, so it's a workflow I pretty much favor over all the others, so it's not that big of an issue at all. And the only thing is that the orientation always changes, so it's a little bit more finicky with, like, you know, rotating the piece and bringing it in the right position, because I really feel this is something that could be fixed. So here's the point, if you don't really know what I'm talking about. If you copy a piece with Control D, or well, basically with Control D to move it for a bigger, you know, or in a bigger area, and you don't want to move it with the advanced move tool, usually if you have angle snap and align to surface enabled, it should snap in the perfect angle to it. However, this only holds true for items that you drop into the game from the menu. Then the orientation is perfectly fine, and it is in a 90-degree angle towards a face if you just align it to the face. However, if you take a piece from somewhere else and you copy it via Ctrl D, it somehow keeps the orientation from the position how it was in beforehand, so it's not entirely perfect in a 90-degree angle towards another face. So it might be on a 90-degree angle if you take the Z-axis, but it might be rotated around the Z-axis as well, and so that's getting a little bit confusing, and this is why you need to rotate them always on and on and on and on and on and so on. You know, on. Well, however, then we are getting into the cashier area again. I didn't really change too much about it. I just changed it a tiny bit. But one of the bigger changes is that I got rid of the sitting staff member, or actually I should say animatronic, because it's not really a staff member, just because I felt like it's too low. The sitting position of all these people is weird. I never really noticed that beforehand, because I really wasn't too mad about it at all. I didn't really use them. But they are sitting like on the toilet. They're really like low sitting, and the knees are way too high in comparison to how they sit. So it always tends to be way too low in comparison to having a cashier or a little table. So people are sitting, I mean the animatronics, are sitting way too low actually. But hey, you know, that's just a minor thing I came across. But yeah, however, I'm also trying to fill up this shop, but as always, I'm not filling it entirely, since I feel like this is way too much work for an episode, so I just started to do it a little bit, and I will do the rest off screen. Anyhow, I wanted to go into your comments again, since I felt I haven't done this in a while now. So first comment I want to read out is one thing we are going to fix in a few minutes already in this episode. Edgy Spread came with his comment last episode. There is an option to define lap and cart for the sequencer. Check your Isla Napali Discord. So in the Discord, it was him to send me quite a bunch of information about this, and also screenshots, and thanks Edgy, because it pretty simply worked. I had no freaking idea that it was in the game. I mean, it's so obvious. It's really obvious. That's also why I was questioning that last time. I didn't really know that it is in. So props to you for mentioning, and props for Frontier, or to Frontier, that they implemented that. So yeah, I didn't expect that. So it's really cool. So then we have another comment from Kane. He said, you didn't put a gate on the jerrycan storage, so there's really nothing stopping anyone from just walking straight in. But that is an ultra minor nitpick on an overall great card track. First of all, thanks for the happy opinion about the card track. And yes, there is a gate missing. We won't fix that in this episode though, but we will fix that in the future. Then we have another great comment from Harry Cooper. Harry Cooper is also mentioning that there is a briefing room missing, and also a watchtower. And guess what? The briefing room will be done in this episode. The watchtower isn't been done in this episode, since I then changed in one day stream. I just went over to do some 3D animation in Blender, and I just stopped doing this, and you will see at the end of this episode what we are going to model in Blender and what will be the next TMT item I will come up with. And yeah, so I'm doing this, but the elevated tower is still missing, but it's definitely a must-have on this track, which is still to be implemented in the future. But yeah, that's what I also wanted to make sure. However, I felt like last time the comment section could have been a bit more active. This is why here's another great thing for you. This time I won't give away a key, but I will have a huge series of billboards going on around the card track. So there will be, let's say, 3 to 4 billboards placed, just to divide the track a little bit better from the environment. And I'm doing the billboards myself. I'm doing a billboard episode on that. And here's the thing. I will put those 4 people into my billboards with a little story that come up with the most creative billboard idea for Isla Napali. And here's the thing, it's not related to the go-kart track, it's about Isla Napali in general. So, you know, I wanted to reward you for being such a great addition to my channel and to what we are doing here, and you are just one of the most important parts of Isla Napali, of the whole series of the project. So I want to bring you in more by name, and you know, there is this one problem usually when I just say, okay, it's been implemented somewhere in the future. It, you know, it might not be happening too much in the close future, and then you kind of forget about it. And this time I don't want to do this. This time I promise to make them until next week, and we will have a dedicated Photoshop episode, which will be still within the series of Isla Nepali, where I will transform your idea you will come up with in the comment section of this video, and then I am going to put them in the park, and you guys are going to vote which one is the best story and the best billboard, and this one is getting another game key, another random game key. So it's a little bit more complicated than usually, but I feel like it suits a little bit more the overall process of Isla Napali. So make sure to come up with either a great comment about the go-kart track, in fact, but more importantly, come up with a really great comment about Isla Napali. It doesn't need to be a story, it doesn't need to be something intricate. Maybe it's just a fact, maybe it's some very random knowledge about Hawaii that I might have not known before, or that you didn't know before. It might be a super serious statement about your favorite Isla Napali episode, I don't know. Or maybe it's why Isla Napali is important to you. Or maybe it's some ridiculous, very sarcastic comment about the series. I don't know. You kind of come up with everything you want, simply. And I'm going to turn that into a hilarious billboard. And I'm going to try to make it as jank as possible, but still maintaining it somewhat, you know, funny and so on. So here's a chance really to become a real part of the Isla Napali Foundation, so to say, and really become a visible part of Isla Napali. And yeah, billboards will, you know, they will play a bigger role in the future anyways, because I feel like we have way too less billboards in the park. And I loved, for example, what the bros did in especially Kinnerly, I guess it was Kinnerly, wasn't it, made with all these lovely billboards in the area close to the No Name Land Park, which is very nicely done. And I like the idea so much that I really want to incorporate that here as well. And we do already have some with Safety Octopus and stuff like that. And you know, this is for me something really, this grew out of our community work in here. This grew really out of your imagination, and this is what I want to come up with again. I want to make the overall comment section more active again. This is really what I need. This helps me out, especially in the times of Article 13 on the radar, because I don't know how long we can do all this stuff together here. But you know, I don't want to complain too much about it. I'll potentially make a dedicated video on that, but I don't see any reason on doing this in this episode, so let's move on. I really just want to make sure that you guys have the best time possible watching my videos, and maybe you have already noticed I did try to make this commentary a little bit more structured, a little bit more less hectic. I hope really that this helped. I want to make this a bit more in the future, not only because I feel like it's maybe a bit better for you to listen, but also to make me a better speaker. It's not that I don't want to make this natural as possible. I want to make it natural, obviously, but also a little bit more enjoyable at the same time. I got the feedback, and I also take this seriously, that it sometimes might a bit hectic, which is always born out of the fact that I want to squeeze the information into the video, and obviously the video is predefined how long this takes, so I only have a dedicated time frame to talk in. But maybe in the future I'm going to talk a little bit, you know, less hectic, and whatever fits into the video will be fit into the video, or will be put into the video, and whatnot will be then you know, put into another one. And yeah, here's also my attempt on putting some vents in this area, which was a little bit tricky, since they appear to be way bigger than I was remembering. And yeah, as you can see, same goes for the arcade, which I've also redone. I didn't really talk about that, but you have seen this in this episode, so I hope you really saw that. Anyhow, so we are getting towards the end of this episode. The last song is about to start, and it's not even going to be ending fully, since yeah, there is already the video ending. And this is also a new song. No, it's not really a new song. It's one of the songs I haven't had in too often, because you also complained about this music getting a little bit too, yeah, repetitive. I think that's the right word. Anyhows, you can see that I'm going to try to make a helmet here. I won't succeed. This is why I am going to model a helmet myself. I really wonder though why the people in Planet Coaster don't wear helmets on the go-kart track. This is not secure at all. Whatever. This was it for my commentary in this episode. I really have one last question. No, it's not really a question. I would love if you guys would watch my channel tomorrow. There will be the first episode of City Skylines dropping, and I seriously want to kick off this seriously great with you together. It's also a community project, and I would love to see you there, so make sure to check my channel tomorrow. But, well, anyhows, I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope we see each other again in tomorrow's Cities video, and if not, on Sunday in the next Planet Coaster video. Make also sure to check out the comment section down below to let me know what you'll like about Isla Napali, to be in the raffle of being featured in a billboard, and effectively win a game key. That's it. See you then, and have a great time. Bye bye.